It's time to subconsciously train your mind through this sleep programming so that your mind becomes so unbreakable that people fear your calm. Some get scared and intimidated even. Let me know in the comments in which country you are listening from and what time it is at the moment. Your comments motivate us to create more and even better content to help you in your 1% mastery journey. So relax and start to unwind. Breath through your nose and inhale and exhale slowly. Imagine each tiny molecule of oxygen going in your nose and travelling all the way to your lungs, and then see it come out as carbon dioxide as you exhale. Just let your whole body relax and your muscles release all the stresses of the day. Now focus on your mind and just empty it of any thought. There's something different about people who never break. You see them everywhere. In boardrooms where others crumble under pressure. In gyms where others quit when it gets hard. In relationships where others run when things get difficult. They carry themselves with a quiet confidence that makes everyone else nervous. They don't need to shout or prove anything. Their presence alone commands respect. And here's what most people don't understand about these individuals. Their unshakable calm isn't something they were born with. It's something they built, piece by piece, day by day, until their mind became so fortified that chaos couldn't touch them. Most people spend their entire lives as prisoners of their own emotions. One bad day and they're done. One rejection and they spiral. One setback and they question everything. But there's a different breed of person walking among us. They face the same storms you do, the same failures, the same heartbreak, the same impossible odds. But something inside them refuses to bend. While others are having emotional breakdowns, they're having strategic breakthroughs. While others are complaining, they're calculating their next move. While others are making excuses, they're making progress. This isn't about being emotionless or cold. This is about developing such powerful mental discipline that external circumstances can't dictate your internal state. It's about training your mind to be so unbreakable that people actually fear your calm. Because when someone can't be shaken, manipulated, or thrown off, of course they become dangerous in the best possible way. They become unstoppable. The first thing you need to understand is that your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. There's no middle ground here. Every single day your thoughts are either building you up or tearing you down. They're either preparing you for victory or programming you for defeat. Most people never take control of this process. They let their minds run wild like untrained animals. They think whatever thoughts happen to show up. They feel whatever emotions happen to surface. They react to whatever circumstances happen to occur. But here's what mentally unbreakable people understand. Your thoughts are not facts. Your emotions are not commands. Your circumstances are not your destiny. You have the power to choose what you think about. You have the ability to decide how you respond. You have the capacity to control your mental and emotional state regardless of what's happening around you. This is the foundation of unbreakable calm, the recognition that you are not a victim of your mind. You are the master of it. The process begins with awareness. You cannot control what you're not aware of, so you must start paying attention to the patterns in your thinking. Notice what thoughts dominate your mind throughout the day. Notice what triggers certain emotional responses. Notice what circumstances tend to throw you off balance. This isn't about judging yourself or trying to be perfect. This is about gathering intelligence about your own mental operating system. Most people's minds are like garbage dumps. They let any old thought wander in and make itself comfortable. They consume negative news all day long. They engage in toxic conversations. They fill their minds with worry, doubt, and fear. Then they wonder why they feel anxious, stressed, and overwhelmed. You cannot put garbage in and expect gold to come out. Your mind is like a garden. You can plant flowers or you can let weeds grow, but something is always growing. Weeds don't need help. They grow automatically. But flowers need attention. They need care. They need the right conditions. The same principle applies to your thoughts. Negative thoughts grow like weeds if you don't actively cultivate positive ones. This is why you must become intentional about what you feed your mind. The books you read, the conversations you have, the content you consume, the people you spend time with, all of this becomes part of your mental nutrition. And just like physical nutrition, it either makes you stronger or weaker. Here's what separates mentally unbreakable people from everyone else. They don't just think about success, they think from success. They don't hope things will work out. They assume they will and prepare accordingly. They don't focus on what could go wrong, they focus on what they can control. This shift in perspective changes everything. When you start thinking from a place of strength instead of weakness, your entire reality begins to shift. But thinking alone isn't enough. You must also train your emotional responses. Emotions are like waves. They rise, they peak, and they fall. The key is learning not to get swept away by them. When anger rises, you don't have to act on it. When fear surfaces, you don't have to run from it. When sadness appears, you don't have to drown in it. You can observe these emotions without being controlled by them. This is where most people fail. They believe their emotions are facts. They think that feeling afraid means they're in danger. They think that feeling angry means they've been wronged. They think that feeling sad means something is wrong with their life. But emotions are just information. They're signals, not commands. You can feel afraid and still move forward. You can feel angry and still respond with wisdom. You can feel sad and still choose hope. The strongest people you know have learned to create space between stimulus and response. When something happens, they don't react immediately. They pause, they breathe, they choose their response consciously. This pause is where your power lives. In that moment of choice, you reclaim control over your life. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your destiny. Physical training plays a crucial role in developing mental unbreakability. Your body and mind are connected in ways most people never realize. When you push your body beyond its comfort zone, you're also training your mind to handle discomfort. When you lift weights that feel too heavy, you're teaching yourself that you can handle more than you think. When you run when you don't feel like it, you're building discipline that carries over into every area of your life. Cold exposure is particularly powerful for building mental resilience. When you voluntarily subject yourself to cold water, your mind wants to panic. Every instinct tells you to escape. But when you stay calm and breathe through the discomfort, you're training your nervous system to remain composed under stress. You're teaching yourself that you can handle difficult situations without losing your center. The practice of doing hard things on purpose is essential for developing unbreakable calm. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. They choose the easy path whenever possible. They run from challenges instead of running toward them. But mentally strong people understand that comfort is the enemy of growth. They deliberately seek out difficult situations because they know that's where strength is built. Start small, but start today. Wake up 5 minutes earlier than you feel like it. Take a cold shower when you want a warm one. Do one more rep when your muscles are screaming. Have that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. These small acts of discipline compound over time. They build the mental muscle you need to handle bigger challenges. The way you talk to yourself matters more than you realize. Your internal dialogue is constantly programming your subconscious mind. If you're constantly telling yourself you're not good enough, you're not strong enough, you're not capable enough, then guess what? Your mind will believe you. But if you start speaking to yourself like someone you love and respect, your entire self-concept begins to shift. Replace self-criticism with self-compassion. Replace doubt with determination. Replace fear with faith. This isn't about lying to yourself or pretending everything is perfect. This is about choosing thoughts that serve you instead of thoughts that sabotage you. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, don't judge yourself. Simply redirect your attention to something more empowering. Visualization is a powerful tool for building mental strength. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. When you repeatedly visualize yourself handling difficult situations with calm and confidence, you're actually training your brain to respond that way in real life. You're creating neural pathways that support the behavior you want to exhibit. Spend time each day visualizing yourself as the person you want to become. See yourself staying calm under pressure. See yourself responding to criticism with grace. See yourself pushing through challenges with determination. See yourself achieving your goals with quiet confidence. The more detailed and emotional you can make these visualizations, the more powerful they become. Meditation is not just about sitting quietly and trying to empty your mind. It's about developing the ability to observe your thoughts without being controlled by them. When you meditate regularly, you strengthen your capacity to step back from your thoughts and emotions. You develop what psychologists call metacognition, the ability to think about thinking. This skill is invaluable for maintaining calm in stressful situations. You don't need to meditate for hours to see benefits. Even 5 or 10 minutes of daily practice can make a significant difference. The key is consistency. It's better to meditate for 5 minutes every day than for an hour once a week. You're training your mind just like you would train your body. Regular practice builds mental muscle. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your mental state. If you're constantly around people who complain, gossip, and focus on problems, you'll find yourself adopting those same patterns. But if you surround yourself with people who are positive, focused, and solution-oriented, you'll naturally start thinking that way too. This doesn't mean you should abandon friends who are going through difficult times. It means you should be selective about who you give your mental energy to. Limit your exposure to people who drain you and increase your time with people who inspire you. Your mental health is too important to sacrifice for the sake of being polite. Developing unbreakable calm also requires learning to let go of things you cannot control. Most people waste enormous amounts of mental energy worrying about things that are completely outside their influence. They worry about what other people think. They worry about economic conditions. They worry about political situations. They worry about things that might happen in the future. This is a recipe for anxiety and stress. Mentally strong people focus their energy on what they can control: their thoughts, their actions, their responses, their decisions. They accept that there are many things in life they cannot influence, and they refuse to waste mental energy on those things. This doesn't mean they don't care. It means they channel their caring into productive action. The concept of memento mori, remembering death, can be a powerful tool for developing perspective. When you truly understand that your time on this earth is limited, it becomes easier to let go of petty concerns. The things that seem so important in the moment often fade into insignificance when viewed from the perspective of mortality. This isn't morbid thinking, it's liberating thinking. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's a prerequisite for success. Every person who has achieved anything significant has failed multiple times along the way. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not that successful people don't fail. It's that they don't let failure define them. They learn from it and move forward. Mentally unbreakable people have a different relationship with failure. They don't see it as a reflection of their worth as a person. They see it as feedback. They see it as education. They see it as a necessary part of the growth process. When you stop fearing failure, you stop being controlled by it. You become free to take risks, pursue your dreams, and live boldly. The power of routine cannot be overstated. When you have strong daily routines, you eliminate decision fatigue. You don't have to think about what to do next. You just follow your routine. This conserves mental energy for more important decisions. It also creates a sense of stability and control in your life. Successful people often have morning routines that set the tone for their entire day. They wake up at the same time. They exercise, they meditate, they eat a healthy breakfast, they review their goals. These routines create momentum that carries them through whatever challenges the day might bring. Your evening routine is equally important. This is when you wind down from the day and prepare your mind for rest. Avoid screens for at least an hour before bed. Read something inspiring. Practice gratitude. Reflect on the day's lessons. This helps you process the day's experiences and sets you up for quality sleep. Sleep is not a luxury, it's a necessity for mental strength. When you're sleep deprived, your emotional regulation suffers. You become more reactive, more irritable, and less able to handle stress. Prioritize getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. Your mind and body will thank you for it. The practice of gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for developing mental resilience. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you shift your attention away from what's wrong and toward what's right. This doesn't mean you ignore problems or pretend everything is perfect. It means you maintain perspective and remember that there is always something to be thankful for. Start each day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. You can be grateful for your morning coffee, for the sun shining, for having a roof over your head. The key is to feel the gratitude, not just think it. When you genuinely feel grateful, your entire physiology shifts. Stress hormones decrease and feel-good chemicals increase. Forgiveness is not about letting other people off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of resentment. When you hold on to anger and bitterness, you're giving other people power over your emotional state. You're allowing them to live rent-free in your head. This is not strength. This is weakness. Forgiveness is a choice you make for your own well-being. It doesn't mean you forget what happened or that you trust the person who hurt you. It means you choose not to let their actions control your emotions. You choose to focus on your own healing and growth rather than on their wrongdoing. The journey to developing unbreakable calm is not easy. It requires consistent effort and dedication. There will be days when you feel like giving up, days when your old patterns of thinking and reacting seem stronger than your new ones. This is normal. This is part of the process. The key is to keep going anyway. Remember that you're not trying to become perfect. You're trying to become stronger. Every time you choose a positive thought over a negative one, you're building mental muscle. Every time you respond with calm instead of reacting with emotion, you're developing resilience. Every time you push through discomfort, instead of running from it, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. The goal is not to eliminate all negative emotions or challenging situations from your life. The goal is to develop the inner strength to handle whatever comes your way with grace and dignity, to become the kind of person who doesn't break under pressure, but instead uses pressure to become stronger. When you develop this level of mental fortitude, something remarkable happens. People start to notice. They see that you don't get rattled by things that upset others. They see that you don't need external validation to feel good about yourself. They see that you don't let circumstances dictate your mood or your actions, and this makes them both impressed and slightly intimidated. This is the power of unbreakable calm. It's not about being cold or emotionless. It's about being so centered and grounded that external chaos cannot shake your internal peace. It's about developing such strong mental discipline that you become a source of stability for others. It's about training your mind to be so resilient that people actually fear your calm, because they know they cannot manipulate or control you. The path to developing this level of mental strength is not complicated, but it is challenging. It requires you to take responsibility for your thoughts, your emotions, and your responses. It requires you to do the work even when you don't feel like it. It requires you to be patient with yourself while remaining committed to your growth. But the rewards are immeasurable. When you develop unbreakable calm, you become free. Free from the opinions of others. free from the ups and downs of circumstances, free from the tyranny of your own negative thoughts. You become the master of your own destiny. You become unshakable. You become dangerous in the best possible way. The choice is yours. You can continue to be a victim of your circumstances, letting external events determine your internal state. Or you can begin the journey of developing unbreakable calm. You can train your mind to be so strong that people fear your composure. You can become the kind of person who doesn't break under pressure, but instead uses pressure to forge diamonds. The time to start is now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. Now, because every moment you delay is a moment you could be building the mental strength that will serve you for the rest of your life. Every day you wait is a day you remain vulnerable to the chaos and unpredictability of the world around you. But every day you commit to this path is a day you become stronger. Every challenge you face with calm composure is evidence of your growing mental resilience. Every time you choose response over reaction, you prove to yourself that you're in control of your own life. This is how you train your mind to be so unbreakable that people fear your calm. Not through aggression or intimidation, but through the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you. This is true strength. This is lasting power. This is the path to becoming truly unstoppable. Remember, the most dangerous person in any room isn't the one who's loud or aggressive. It's the one who's completely at peace with themselves. Your journey to unbreakable calm starts with understanding that true strength comes from within, not from external validation or approval. Every challenge you face is just another opportunity to prove to yourself that you're stronger than you think. The world needs people who can stay grounded when everything around them is chaotic, who can think clearly when others are panicking, and who can lead with wisdom when others are driven by fear. That person can be you, but only if you're willing to do the work that most people won't do, the work of mastering your own mind and emotions every single day.